All right, what's up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode podcast, real estate tip, where every single week I come to you delivering different tips, tactics, and strategies to help you get shit done in your real estate business and help ensure that you are dominating and crushing your overall real estate goals. All right, so today I'm here to talk to you about how to immediately increase your conversions on your sales inside your real estate business and how to go out there and do this without having to necessarily work more hours, without having to go out there and change up and shift up the actual strategies that you are doing. And again, not having to go out there and put necessarily more energy and effort into your business. Now, that might sound like something that is too good to be true, but I'm here to promise you that it is not. And this isn't some clickbait BS title or topic that I'm just trying to do to go out there and get more views or get more downloads or any of that. No, like this is what we're breaking down today is improving your skill set. So our skill set is how good are we at doing the things that we are doing. Look, if you want to go out there and double your business, triple your business, quadruple your business, the quickest way of doing that is getting better at doing the things that you are doing. Because if you get twice as good, 3 times as good, 4 times as good, okay, well, you can then increase your business by 2, 3, 4x within the same amount of energy or within the same amount of time of deploying the same strategy, same things. So here's an example of this. I was in a team meeting not too long ago and having a conversation with some of my agents. And this agent over here was converting with a specific lead source at 4%. This agent over here was converting at that same lead source. Same lead, same everything, same system, same lead, same opportunity, same everything. This agent was converting at 16%. Now, there's the agent on my team that's converting at 4%. Do they need more leads? Now, initially, they might think, yes, right? Like a lot of us do. But the reality is if they get their skill set up to the same as the other agent converting at 16%, again, we're talking same exact lead source, same exact system, same exact market. Everything else is 100% the same. The only differentiator here is skill set. Right. So, okay, they can make 4 times the amount of money with the same amount of leads by getting their conversions from 4% to 16% by increasing their skill set. So that's what I am here to talk to you about today is immediately increasing, doubling, tripling, maybe even quadrupling your overall conversions by dialing in your skill set. And again, skill set is how good we are at doing the thing that we are doing. Like, okay, me and you, we can be hitting, let's just say we're calling expireds or you insert whatever the lead source or prospecting source is that you want to insert. Like me and you, we can go head to head on the same thing, but get 2 totally different results. We can be using the same dialer, same data, same market, same everything, and have 2 totally different results based on our level of skill set. Skill set 100% matters. And now that we are in this more challenging market where we have half the amount of listings, half the amount of transaction volume, and about the same number of realtors, right? So the most competitive landscape that we are in, where all this low-hanging fruit is now dried up, skill set is as important, if not more important than any time that I've seen in my almost 20 years of being in real estate and going out there and being involved in this business at a very high level for a long freaking time. Skill set 100% matters, and that's what we are here to break down today. Now, there are 3 things, and you hear me talk a lot about this on the podcast, but I'm going to restate these because they're so important. I call these the 3-legged stool, the 3 things that you need to have dialed in right now. Now, these have always been important, but right now it's even that much more important because, again, all this low-hanging fruit dries up, although those kind of easy layup sales dry up. Right? That's why the average agent's business is down 40%, average team's business down, 40%, average brokerage agent's business down, or broker's business down 40%. It's because they don't have these 3 things dialed in. They haven't shifted and adapted on these 3 primary things. So one is skill set, which we're talking about here today. Then from there, yes, you got to make sure that your process is dialed in. And yes, you got to make sure that your strategy is dialed in. So strategy is making sure that you're targeting the right people that have the highest probability of needing to buy or sell in this given market. Process is what we do, when we do it, where we do it, how we're deploying that, so that's, what our overall follow-up cadence is. And, you got to have all of these 3 things in play. If you remove like a 3-legged, the reason why I call it 3-legged stool, you remove a leg of the stool, boom, that son of a bitch falls over, right? So we got to have all 3 of these into place. Now, today I'm here to talk about one of the legs, which is skill set, extremely, extremely important. So let's just assume that you have these other things dialed in. You've got the right strategy. You've got the right process. Now we need to enhance your skill set. Okay, so when it comes to skill set, remember, this is how well we are or how well we do the things that we are doing. Now get out a pen and paper because I'm going to go do a deep dive into this. And this is so important. I promise you, if you guys master these things I'm going to tell you today, you get this stuff dialed and you invest the time to go out there and master these, you will become a freaking sales and conversion machine. Now, real quick, before I jump into these, look, if you are a real estate agent, if you are a team leader, or if you are a real estate company brokerage owner, maybe your business is down, maybe it's just kind of stagnant, it's just kind of stalled, maybe it's growing, but not at the path and the pace that you want it to. It's like you're operating down here, but you know your full potential is way up here. You just do not know exactly what you need to do to get from where you're at to where you want to go. If that is you, I invite you to schedule a 100% free, 100% zero pressure coaching call with me personally. This is going to be me and you. I don't delegate to other people, other coaches. Like, it's going to be me and you on this Zoom call. And we're going to spend an hour together. We're going to be breaking down and doing a deep dive into your business, where your business is currently at, what your 12-month goals are, what your long-term goals are, what you are currently doing inside your business, what your biggest obstacles are, what your biggest constraints are, what you believe to be the biggest things that are blocking you from getting from where you're at to where you want to go. And look, if you don't know all of these things, that's okay. We'll pull these out of you. We'll be able to discover these during this coaching call. I do this all day long. I've coached over 5,000 agents, team leaders, and brokerage owners. I've been just living, eating, breathing, real estate for 20 plus years. Like, I got your back. I got you covered. So even if you don't have full clarity in these things, we'll get you rocking and rolling. Then from there, I'm going to walk you through what my recommended strategy is for you to get from where you're at to where you want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner. I'm going to eliminate all the guesswork. So it's going to be like, hey, if we were to switch places, if we were to, shift places, I was in your shoes, here's exactly what I would do to get from where you're at to where you want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner possible. So I invite you to schedule this 100% free, 100% zero pressure coaching call with me personally. You can do this at www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. Now, full disclosure, we're going to spend about 50 minutes going through everything I just talked about and making sure that you are fully dialed in. You will not leave this coaching call with not knowing it. Like, you will know exactly what you got to do to go out there and crush it. And in the last 10 minutes, I'm going to walk you through what my coaching program entails, see if it's a possible fit for you. And look, if it is, cool. And if not, hey, that's okay too. We can still be friends. I promise you have my word. This will still be an extremely valuable coaching call. You will know exactly what to do to get from where you're at to where you want to go. Just want to make sure that you have awareness that it exists. And again, if it's for you, cool. Not, that's okay too. Everything I do is zero pressure. Not going to beg you. Not going to make you feel guilty. Not like I don't abide by that bullshit. I've got a very strict no pressure policy inside all my businesses. So I don't do that. So again, you want to schedule this, www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. Okay. So let's just dive on in. Here are the fundamentals that you need to understand and know. So like, if I was like, okay, what are the most important fundamentals that I need to know to really hone in my skill set? Based on where the consumer is at today, based on human behavior today, what we're experiencing, what we are seeing, these that I'm going to cover with you here are the most important fundamentals that you got to understand and you got to make sure that you are mastering. Okay, so the first thing here is you got to make sure that you understand what the consumer wants. Now, you and I are consumers too. And one of the things that, I do, and I recommend that you do, is look, when we're in our real estate businesses, it's like we got a real estate hat on. We're a real estate business owner. Sometimes we got a realtor hat on, or team leader hat, or brokerage, whatever the role is that you have, but we got a real estate hat on. Then from there, when you have your real estate hat off and you're out there operating as a quote unquote consumer in your life, then let's put on our consumer hat. So then we're like observing ourselves as a consumer, what those experiences are. So every time you have a good experience, every time you have a negative experience, every time you feel good or you're in a situation where you feel bad, you feel icky, like you're processing that. You're almost observing, you're not just experiencing it as a human being, but you're observing what you are going through in that process. Because you and myself, like, we're all human beings. Right. So the human behavior we exude is the same that most others exude as well. So what are the experiences that you enjoyed, then from there, okay, your clients are probably going to enjoy something very similar to that. What are the what are the situations, what are the experiences that turn you off, right? So we got to pay attention to those, because so we're using ourselves like a test subject, so hey, what it's like, okay, like let's just say I get some online funnel ad that gets me and I go out there and buy this product. Okay, well, you best believe I'm screenshotting every phase of that funnel. Yeah, right. So then from there, it's like, okay, if they got me, I know then that was powerful and I could probably use that to get, a client, right? Whatever that may be. So, that's just kind of a bonus tip that wasn't actually part of my notes here. That was just kind of a bonus tip for this. But, so then from there, though, we got to understand what the consumer wants and where the consumer is at today. So if we look at the age and the era that we are in, it's just, and I'm not here to say it's good or bad. I'm not saying this to make fun of anybody or anything. It's just, I just need to observe. We got to be observant of just what is. So this is just the reality of where we are at and what, how human behavior is kind of morphed into in the era that we are in. So people today are more sensitive than any other time. I don't want to say in human history because I haven't been alive for all human history, but any time in my lifetime and probably any time in your lifetime, people are more sensitive. They're more easily triggered, right? Than like any other time. And again, this isn't like it's a good thing, bad. It just is what it is. It's our job as salespeople, or if you want to look at this of, business owners, quote unquote, influencers, what we're trying to do is influence other people's behavior so we can get them to do business with us, whether it be, because all these things I'm covering with you guys, dude, applies to buyers, sellers, applies to agents. Like if you're recruiting agents, recruiting buyers, recruiting sellers, it's all the same thing, right? These are all human beings with real needs, with real concerns, right? So we gotta know where they're at. Okay, so then from there, if we know that people are extremely sensitive and more easily triggered than ever before, okay, when we know, then this allows us to then kind of guide into, okay, what does the consumer truly want today in any type of a buying or selling experience or recruiting experience? Okay, they want the information that they want and need to make their best informed decision for themselves and their families, but they want to do that in a safe, non-pushy, non-pressure environment where they do not feel threatened. They do not feel as if they're being sold. They do not feel high pressured, right? So again, I'm going to repeat that because it's so damn important. The consumer today wants all the information that they need to make their best informed decision for themselves and for their families, but they want to do it in a non-pushy, non-pressure, non-hassle, non-high pressure salesy, non-salesy, safe environment. So the golden rule is treat others how you want to be treated. The platinum rule is treat others how they want to be treated. You want to have success, follow the platinum rule, not necessarily the golden rule, right? So, okay, if we understand that, well, then let's just give the consumer what it is that they want. So this is what I call, it's about selling without selling. So yes, at the end of the day, just so we're all clear on this, yes, we are selling. Yes, we are leading, but we need to be intentional with doing this in a way where people do not feel as if they are being sold. That is the key. So yes, we're selling. Yes, we're leading the process, but we need to do it in a way where people do not feel as if they are being sold. So we want to do everything that we can to remove what's called sales resistance, right? So making them feel comfortable when we're together, not against, and making them feel comfortable. Okay, so then that's, the against and not together. So I'm just trying to reference my notes here. Okay, so then the question comes, well, how the hell do we do that, Josh? All this sounds great. I get this. I understand this. And just think about how you want to be treated. How do you feel when somebody's high pressuring you or high pushing you or trying to persuade you and you don't really feel comfortable doing that? Like, dude, it's icky. It's a turnoff, right? We get those butterflies in our stomach. We feel like shit. Yeah, right. Like you want to create this comfortable experience. It's going to develop trust. It's going to create, and create more rapport, build more trust. The more people feel comfortable with you, the more trust they're going to have, the more rapport they're going to have. All of those things become important, especially, when we're helping people buy and sell the biggest financial investments of their lifetime. Like, wouldn't we think that that's kind of important? Okay, so then from there, now let's break down, okay, well, then how do we go out there and do this stuff? Okay, so we got to make sure that we are keeping people out of what is called passive listing mode and then keep them in what I call active listing mode. And when I say these things, I don't know if they're technical terms. This is just what I call them in the way that my mind thinks with this. Okay, so passive listing. Let me ask you this, and I want you to kind of think of a time, because we've all been there. So think of a time when you've been in a situation where somebody's trying to sell you something, or maybe it's a non-sell situation, but we've all been in here. But think, it happens a lot in sales, right? So somebody's trying to sell you some shit and you're not actually listening to every word that they're saying. You're actually thinking about, okay, how am I going to respond? What am I going to say to combat what they're saying? Like, what's the rebuttal that I'm going to use to respond with so I can get the hell out of this situation, right? That's called passive listening. Now, I do not care how good your script is, your pitch, your offer. If they are in passive listening mode, and they're not actively listening to what you have to say, you are going to have low conversions. We need to keep them in active listening mode, which means they're paying attention. They are listening. Yeah, right. They're not thinking about what the hell am I going to say to get out of this, right? It's why so many of us, like our self-development just sucks anymore because we're not actively listening. People are listening to a podcast or an audiobook or whatever while they're doing other work, and they're not even really actually listening to it. So they're not retaining, they're retaining maybe 0.01 of 1% of actually the information in there. We need to keep people in active listening mode. So what happens here is and this is where it comes full circle here with what I was talking about earlier, because people are so sensitive and they're so easily triggered. The second they feel as if they are being sold, they go into the oldest portion of the brain, which is called the alligator portion, the croc portion of the brain. It triggers what's called fight or flight mode. That shuts down their emotional portion of the brain, shuts down the logical portion of the brain. And now they are just looking for the out, right? Like they feel threatened and now they're just looking for an out. And that's where you're going to get when people are really short with you, when people are just giving you kind of these auto default, objections. That's because you got them into passive listening mode. You triggered fight or flight mode. And now they are just looking for an out. We need to keep them out of that and keep them in active listening mode. So, and it's not just about sounding like I got to sound different than all the other realtors trying to, call these people. And, so I don't sound like the salesy realtor, no, it's not. I mean, that's important, but in addition to that, it's acting different and having a different approach than any other sales experience that they've ever had. Because if it feels, if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, whatever, it's a duck, right? So whatever the damn saying is, you get what I'm saying here. So we got to be very intentional with keeping them in active listening mode. Okay, so then from there, how do we do that? I call this pre-framing and reframing. So to explain what pre-framing and reframing mean. Now, pre-frame is to set the frame, to set the stage. Reframing is, okay, if at any point during our conversation, we go into a point where sales resistance is triggered. They start to go into fight or flight mode. We're starting to see them kind of shut down or, whatever. Okay, we got to reframe this, right? So pre-framing and reframing. Now, a way to think about this, and just so think about, a situation in your life. Okay, you're having to have a conversation with a loved one, something that's important to you that you really care about. And maybe their behaviors, they're just going off the rails with their behavior and whatever. And like you need to have like a heart-to-heart conversation with them. But you're sitting there thinking to yourself, okay, well, I need to make sure that they know that my intention is in the right place. That I want to make sure that we have a very highly effective, constructive conversation. I want to make sure that they don't take this in the wrong way, because it very easily could go from an important, constructive conversation that's helpful to them to holy shit, now we're in a fight. Now we're in a blowout and this thing could go bad. And so you're probably thinking about, well, how am I going to set the mood? How am I going to bring this up? What do I need to do so they know what my intentions are so we can, again, have an effective, productive conversation? Now, I don't know, before I get into this other thing, the reason why this is so damn important today and so damn effective today. Like I'm seeing conversions right now here in 2024 that I've never seen before in my 20 years of selling real estate and doing this at a very high level. And I've done this, over 7,000 home sales person between myself and my team. I've been doing this at a very high level, quickly became, early on in my career, one of the top realtors and continue to be top realtors, top team leaders on the planet. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying that I've been doing this at a high level for a long freaking time. I've never seen conversion rates like we are getting today. Even though market's down with transactions, whatever, whether it be expireds, FSBOs, we are converting much higher than we've ever seen before. And it's not that our process has changed. It's not that skill sets change. Like I've had this skill set for a long period of time, right? Like, what I believe it to be, two things. Number one, just came out of the longest bull market in recorded history, 2012 to middle 2022. So we've never seen an economic expansion, real estate expansion like that. So people could just show up with low level skill set and still go out there and make six figures if they work decently hard in this industry. So for a lot of people, they didn't have to obtain the skill sets. Now that the market's shifted and it's a market now about skill sets, okay, like we have less and less, like there's just lesser people that just don't have that, where it's just like Fisher with dynamite. The other thing, now this is total theory from me, but a part of me feels, I don't know, but a part of me feels that maybe something happened during the pandemic, during the lockdowns, during all of that, where it just feels like, do people lost the ability to have effective conversations? And that's what we're talking about with skill set. How do we have effective conversations to influence those that we want to go out there and serve and support, to make them making the right decision with going with us? Yeah, right. Assuming that you're good and a professional, and you're the best person to help them, which you are, right? So with that though, like that takes the ability to have effective conversations. It's just a lot, like, dude, the art of the effective conversation has just been fucking lost, right? So this is good. Like, you get this shit down, dude. Like, you will just be absolutely freaking shocked at what your conversions are. Like, you're just going to start stacking appointments and closings and all of this stuff. This isn't just about, okay, my phone calls with my leads to set appointments. All of these things I'm talking about here are through the whole way of the sales funnel. So yeah, with our prospecting or lead gen follow-up, those conversations, as we are presenting our buyer consultations or listing presentations or our agent recruiting presentations, all the way through the whole experience. Yeah, right. These things all apply through this experience. So that's what pre-framing and reframing is, right? So, and I know I kind of went on a side tangent there, but I think that's important to know, because I'm promising you guys, get this stuff dialed in, then boom, you're just gonna be like a rocket ship in your business. You will be blown away at how quick shit just expands for you. Okay, so then with pre-framing, what you need to do is every single lead source, and this is where you got to understand what the timeline and psychology is per lead source, right? Timeline allows us to know how long we need to follow up and how frequent. Psychology is how do we need to craft our message based on what that prospect or lead is going through. So let's just say it's somebody going through a divorce, or somebody that I'm going. I mean, it's a very great niche right now, to go after, or somebody that's in notice of default, pre-foreclosure, 30 plus days late on their mortgage. Okay, well, those are people like, hey, I got to come with a lot of empathy, right? I got to know, okay, what's going on in their head, how are they feeling, what's going on with their situation. That then crafts my overall messaging, so I can have those effective conversations. Smart marketers, smart salespeople understand they got to meet that person where they're at with the conversation going on in their head. Right. So each of my pre-frames based on the lead source is going to be different. So the pre-frame, though, is what my opener is, and not just what my openers, but what my opener is before we get into the script. But this also is going to set kind of the tone, right? The mood, the tone. Because again, we want to set the stage for the overall situation. So then from there, and I'm going to give some examples here, because I know when you first start hearing this stuff, you're like, what the fuck does all this shit mean, Josh? Like, I get that, right? So I'll go into some examples. But then from there, right? Again, reframing, if I start to see any resistance, like let's just say the conversation's going good, and then maybe I ask them something, or and all of a sudden they kind of start to close up. Okay, now I can reframe it, right, to get them back. So it's just going back to the like just to reset the stage, reset the intention, with this. Okay, so let's get into an example of a pre-frame with an online buyer lead. Now, one thing when it comes to pre-framing, it's called mirroring. So mirroring is just, okay, we mirror their language, right? Like we're mirroring, so, okay, I know with online buyer leads, what do they always say? Oh, we're just browsing, not looking to buy right now. We're just browsing. Like, so I already know they're going to say that. I already know that's what's going on in their head. So if I go at them, and in a more salesy way, they're going to come at that because I'm going to put them in a fight or flight mode, and they're just going to come into we're just browsing. We're not looking. Okay, well, let's look at it this way, just to put the reality to this, because they are looking, they are going to buy at some point, right? So we can't buy into that bullshit. But you triggered that resistance because you came across it sounding salesy. You weren't doing the things that we're talking about here, right? Because again, they're going to buy at some point, whether it's now or whether it's 5 years from now, they're going to buy at some point. It's your choice based on your skill set. If it's going to be you or if it's going to be somebody else. So I just mirror their language. Let's just say, okay, once I've identified that it's them, I'm talking to the right person, so then from there I go into, something like, and then I'll share, I'm going to go through the script, kind of the pre-framing script with you, and then I'll break down why this is so important. All right. So then it's, hey, so whatever their name is, I know I'm talking to the right person. Hey, I know that you're probably just browsing, not looking to make a move now or anytime at all in the near future. So just hypothetically speaking, if you were to make a possible move in the future, and the reason why I'm asking is this just helps me with overall business planning purposes. So again, hypothetically speaking, if you were to make a possible move in the future, what's your best guesstimate of when that might be? Within 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? What would you say your best guess is on that? And then I just pause. I get everybody to tell me. Now, why is that powerful? Why is that a powerful pre-frame? Right? Why? In the pre-frame of that was, hey, no, you're just browsing, not looking to make a move, right? But then from there, I'm setting the mood with the tone. So it's a soft, neutral, non-pushy tone. Part of tone is your pacing, right? So one of the things when it comes to scripting is you want to talk slow. You do like people are conditioned that fast talking salespeople, okay, if you think somebody's usually good at sales, they're not. Like the greatest sales people, you never even know that you're being sold. So when we talk slower, it keeps people in active listening mode. It doesn't make them feel as if they are being sold, right? So especially like the longer the question that I have, the more I want to slow that down because it keeps them, having to hang on to every word. So even like my little stutters, all of that stuff's intentional. So the pre-frame was, hey, I know that you're just browsing, not looking to make a move now or probably any time at all in the near future. So I led with that. So that doesn't make them feel boxed in. So it makes sure that we're staying in active listening mode, not in passive listening mode. So it's making sure that we're, making them comfortable. That's what this is about. Like old school way of selling was ABC, always be closing. It's like now it's like still ABC, but always be comforting, right? So when I look at this then, and I'm going through this. Okay, so I pre-framed it correctly with mirroring their language and making them feel comfortable. Then from there, if you notice there, I went into, hey, the reason that I'm asking is, well, through human behavior, Robert Cialdini's work, it's been proven that if you give a valid reason as to why you are asking, it increases compliance by 98%. So then I give them a valid reason. Then I go into it and why I'm saying things like possibly and all of that's intentional. So again, I want to make them not feel boxed in. It's just hypothetically speaking, when do you think you might possibly, purchase in the future? Yeah, right. So just, keeping that, slow tone. I'm just trying to break this down so you guys can understand this because this stuff's so important, right? Because you could say the exact same words that I'm saying, but if you say them too fast, like I'm speaking right now, like really fast, okay, people are gonna shut down. They're gonna be like, what the fuck? The energy's too high. And if you're a guy like me that does everything, like, dude, I'm very high energy. I walk fast, I talk fast, like I don't eat sitting down. Like I just go, 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 go. Right. Well, I've got to be very careful with this. I got to really slow things down because I know how I operate naturally. I'm not going to do good at sales, right? I gotta adapt, right, with these things. Okay, so I pre-framed it correctly, where I kept them in active listening mode there. I use hey, the reason why I'm asking that increases compliance. The third component of that is, because I need to get the highest objective of conversation number one, whether it was prospecting or lead follow-up. So inbound or outbound, it doesn't matter. But the highest level objective of conversation number one is to identify goals and identify timeline, right? So right now I'm identifying their timeline, right? But then from there, what did I ask them? I gave them multiple choice. Look, in this information age that we are in, people have a difficult time making decisions because there's too many choices. You need to give people choices of what to pick from in order to get these responses. It just trust me, this shit just works when it comes to. So that's an example of pre-framing for a buyer lead. Now, one that I use all the time, and I'm going to go into this one with a FISBO. Like let's say I'm offering, a free resource kit for a FISBO, a free open house for a FISBO, or if I'm going in for like one of my strategies right now that we're converting like at 10%, which is a bottom line upfront, just going in for the business. So this is a pre-frame. This is an opener before I actually get into the script, actually get into the pitch, right? So, once I identify it's them, so let's just say it's Joe. Hey, is this Joe? Yeah, this is Joe, right? So once I've identified that it's them, hey, this is just Joshua Smith here with XYZ Real Estate. Hey, I got something I want to run past you, just in case it's something that works for you. And if it doesn't, no worries at all. Just let me know. And hey, no problem at all. But I just want to run it past you, just in case it's something that works for you. Like you can okay, with that opener, like if you didn't have that opener, we could use the same script, the same offer, the same pitch, and you convert half as well. Right? Why is that script so powerful? When you open with, hey, this is just, you'll hear me say this a lot, right? If you ever watch me do calls or whatever, hey, this is just Joshua Smith, XYZ Real Estate, right? It assumes they should know you, it keeps you in active listening mode. But then from there, when I say, hey, I got something I want to run past you, just in case it's something that works for you. And if it doesn't, no worries at all. Just let me know. And hey, no worries at all. But I want to run it past, just in case it's something that works for you. I've already given them permission that it's okay to say no. So then they don't feel boxed in. It keeps them in active listening mode where then hey, okay, they have nothing, it's not non-threatening, right? That's the key here. I use this when I'm going after like divorces or short sale. Like that is a very very common, pre-frame opener that I use. So those are examples. Okay. So then I already talked about objective with conversation number one, which I'll repeat because it's so important. Objective of conversation number one. And when we understand this stuff, like, yes, I have scripts, but as quickly as possible, I want to not have to rely on scripts. Like anymore at this point in my business, I don't need to look at scripts. I haven't for, probably 15, 20, 15, 16 years, I was able to throw all my scripts out the window. I don't have to look at them. Now I still have, it sounds kind of, hypocritical because it's like, dude, I got just scripts galore on every aspect of my business. But the reason being is when I bring on new agents, okay, they have to have a starting point. But we want to get, because things go off script fast. So what I really want people to understand is the frameworks and the overall objectives of how to navigate effectively in the conversation based on the prospecting or lead source, because things go off script and then we know how to bring it back. And, and then it sounds more natural. You want this to be like a conversation that you were having with a friend or a family member or a neighbor. Again, you always want to be together, never against. The surest way to piss somebody off or shut down a prospect is to make them feel like you are against them. You always want to be together. So the objective, highest level objective of every single of the conversation number one is to establish timeline, an established goal. Then, if appropriate or able, go in for the appointment. Then, if I can't get the appointment or it's not appropriate yet to go in for the appointment, now I've established their goal, I've established their timeline. So then now I know the best appropriate follow-up process to make sure that I convert that business, down the road. Because at the end of the day, it becomes a law of probabilities. Right? There's going to be a percent that are going to go with you right out of the gate. There's going to be a percent that are 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years. For me, I don't care. Like I just know that, hey, it's going to shake out to how it shakes out. Right. But whether they're listing today or buying today or buying 2 years from now, like I just want to make sure that I have the right best follow-up protocol to ensure that I get that business whenever whenever it actually meets their timeline. Sometimes people think objections are always objections. Sometimes objections are reality of the situation. But here's the thing: when you get objections, like let's just say your calling expires. This is a very common thing, and then they tell you, "Oh, we're not looking at selling." We decided to wait, and they just shut you down because you triggered sales resistance and got them into passive listening mode, fight or flight mode. They just shut you down, and then they say, "Oh yeah, we decided to hold off. We're not listing." And then all of a sudden you go on the MLS 2 weeks later, they're relisted with somebody, right? That's because you have low level skill set. Yeah, right. Like you didn't know how to navigate that. You didn't have okay. We got objective of conversation number one. Then from there, you need to be able to identify what the true objections are, aka problems, aka concerns. But here is the thing, people do not feel comfortable with you. They are going to never share with you what the true objectives and concerns are. So let's just break down an expired here. Okay, so with an expired, now we understand what the highest level objective is. If we talk about everything, so we're like starting to put all this together. Talk about everything that we've talked about thus far, right? So we know what the consumer wants, treating the consumer, keeping them active, listening mode, objective of conversation number one. Now, earlier I said you got to understand timeline and psychology of each lead source. So now we're going to talk about psychology of an expired. There's three things, and you got to know this per source, per prospect that you're going after. Okay, so objective with, the psychology of what's going on with the expired. They got three things going on. Okay, number one, their home was rejected by the marketplace. That's gut punch number one. Number two, they had real estate goals that they're looking to get met, didn't get met, right? Gut punch number two. Number three, they had a real estate agent that told them they could get the job done. The real estate agent let them down. That's gut punch number three. Boom, 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 triple whammy, right? So they're defeated on those three things. So there's three things during our experience together that I need to get them to understand. I need to get them to believe. It's not me telling them. It's getting them to believe it. It's getting them to know it, getting them to understand it. Number one, your home isn't the problem. Number two, that your real estate goals can still be met. Number three, that the mistake that you made is that you hired the wrong agent. The good news is I can get the job done. Now, of course, that's not going to be my script. Yeah, right. Like my script is always going to lead with, okay, like my opener is to get them to know that their house wasn't the problem. Then from there, I'm going to get into goals. I'm going to get into timelines. I'm going to get into it, but navigating those conversations, like I need to get those three objectives accomplished. So let's just say they say something like, well, I'm going to, we're going to relist, but we're going to relist with the previous agent that they went with. Okay. Again, I'm not just going to hit them with an objection handler, because again, that would put us against, right? We want to be together, like, okay, reaffirm their decision. Okay. Hey, yeah, I totally get that and respect that and honor that. And look, as a real estate agent myself, like I love it when my clients are committed and loyal to me too. So I get that and I respect that. I'm not here to step on any toes here. I want that out of my clients as well. But just out of curiosity, before I let you go, and this just helps me because I always want to insert that reason. This just helps me with, improving in my own real estate business and becoming a better agent, so I can go out there and, service my clients, at a higher level. So just out of curiosity, what do you feel that it was that maybe your agent didn't do, the first time around that they had your home listed? What do you feel it is that they didn't do that ultimately led to them not getting the job done the first time around that you listed with them? And then I just pause and shut up. Like I'm planting that seed. Yeah, right. Or when people say, oh, well, we decided to hold off. Okay, yeah, no worries. I totally get that and respect that and understand that. Just out of curiosity, what's leading to you possibly wanting to hold off? Well, interest rates. Okay, that's a very easy objection to overcome with interest rates. But then when I overcome that, because like people will tell you shit like this. Like, I've heard so many freaking quote unquote gurus that have never sold damn real estate, or it's been 1,000 years since they sold real estate, say stupid shit like this. Well, once there's about a half a dozen of different objections that you're going to hear for each different lead source. And once you know those, you know how to navigate all of those. It's like, look, it's all utter bullshit. People do not go to objection school. They don't even know why they're giving the objections that they're giving. You've just triggered sales resistance, right? Then boom, they're just trying to get the hell out of the situation. And they're just telling you the default shit that we always hear over time to get you out of that. People that are telling you that kind of crap that these quote unquote gurus are telling you are just operating through manipulation and deceit, when it comes to their sales strategy. They're just stuck in this old 1980s hardcore in your face sales stuff that is very ineffective today. Right? But I need to peel back those onion layers. So let's just say they say, oh, well, because of interest rates. Now I handle that objection because that's a very easy one to overcome. You need to know how to overcome that objection. Let's just say I handle that. And then, so if we could make that a possibility, would that something that you still would possibly be interested in moving forward with then? And then if they say, no, we're still going to hold off. Okay. So then it sounds like there's something maybe in addition to, just the interest rates and the payments that are causing you to, want to possibly hold off. What else might that be that's causing you want to wait? So then now I can get to the root core issue. But if they don't feel safe with you, if they don't feel comfortable with you, then they're not going to share with you what the true objection is. So you've got to be able to identify, peel back the onion, get to that root core thing, because it's either a true objection or it's the reality of the situation. Okay, sometimes like an example of this, hey, yeah, we were looking to relocate to and retire and relocate to, Sarasota, Florida, whatever. But with the economy, with everything, we decided to hold off. We're actually going to continue working for 2 more years, wait till our Social Security is fully vested, wait till our pension is fully vested, and then decide to sell. Okay, that is not an objection. That's a reality of the situation. But now I can identify that correct follow-up protocol to continue building trust, rapport, with them. So then boom, in a year or two, once they are ready to make this move, boom, I get that business, right? So we got to be able to understand that. Now, one of the best things I ever did in my business was implement a zero pressure policy. Now, this was, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago where I learned this, because I was like, okay, so many people focus on the, oh, let me get, I want the yes. I want the yes. And I was like, man, what if I just start focusing on eliminating any reason as to why somebody might say no? Let me just eliminate that. Then from there, if I eliminate all the no's, then the next part of the process, like eventually it leads to them saying yes. So then I'm just like, okay, well, why do people say no? Okay, well then it's I know that people don't want to be pressured. People don't want to be hard sold. I'm like, why are they saying no to these appointments? Like, I'm like, hey man, I know when they come here, I show them, I'm helping them, I'm educating them, I'm helping them the budget, I'm putting plans together, I'm helping making sure that their real estate goals are a reality. Well, I'm like, man, there's a lot of resistance because people are, I understood that. I understand that realtors are on the lowest totem pole of the likability index. We are below car salesmen. We are below attorneys. Like, we're the lowest of the totem pole. Right. So people have very low trust with us. They see us as these slimy, sleazy, So then I was like, okay, let me just eliminate that. And not just institute something to say. Let me institute this where I'm very strict on this and we abide by this 100%, which is a very strict, absolute no pressure policy. So every lead, every prospect, we are just regurgitating this because it's not just you telling it. They got to have enough experiences where they're experiencing what you're saying, like, oh shit, this is actually legit. So we have we got a very, so we're telling everybody, hey, just so we have a very strict, absolute no pressure policy here inside of our real estate business. So you never have to worry about being pushed, pressured, hard sold, any of that stuff with us. Look, when I'm in a sales situation, somebody's trying to hard sell me, I can't stand it in being in that situation. And I don't believe in treating others how I don't want to be treated. So I just want you to know and understand that we have a very strict no pressure policy. So you never have to worry about being pushed, pressured, hard sold, pushed into anything that you don't want to do. Look, we are just here to be, hopefully be a realtor, but be a resource and, help serve and support in any way that we possibly can. Boom, over and over and over. So I'm going to, every time I'm having a conversation, every time I'm going to set an appointment, like, let's just say I'm going in to set a buyer consultation. Hey, just so you know, the sole purpose of this meeting is to provide you with all the information that you need to make the best informed decision for yourself and for your family, regardless of what that decision is. Hey, look, the end of this meeting, you might decide that, hey, maybe home ownership is for you, but now just might not be the time. And look, that's okay. You may decide that home ownership is not for you, not now, not ever. And if that's the decision, hey, that's okay too. You may even decide that, hey, home ownership is for you and it's for you right now, but maybe you don't feel comfortable with using me as your real estate agent to help you through this process. And hey, that's okay too. Like I said, the sole purpose of this meeting is to provide you with all the information that you need to make your best informed decision for yourself and for your family. And just so you know, we have a very strict absolute pressure policy inside of our business. We never have to worry about being pushed, pressured, sold, none of that. We're just here to provide you again with all that information that you need to make your best decision. Does that sound fair? Yeah, right. So like, because you make them feel comfortable, boom, they're going to set the appointment. They're going to also show up for the appointment. It just increases those conversions. That's why I said this isn't just about, up front on the phone. This is the whole way through the funnel. So I highly recommend to institute that zero pressure policy. People will think they'll see my real estate business like, oh, you got these like your home sold guaranteed or we buy it programs. And I think like that's the magic pill. I'm like, dude, that shit doesn't do anything for my business. Right. That's just a way for me to feed other deals to my investor clients and whatever. But like, that is not the difference maker for my business. The zero pressure policy though, like that's the best USP that I've ever instituted of everything else. That's the most powerful. So again, be extremely intentional on selling without selling. You got to make people feel extremely comfortable. So yes, we are selling. Yes, we are leading the process, but for all the fundamentals, all the reasons that we talked about today, so now we got to be intentional. Okay. When I'm framing these conversations, when I'm reaching out to these people, how do I have effective conversations, keep them in active listing mode, keep them out of passive listing mode, keep sales resistance non-existent, right? Keep those conversations moving forward, right? All of those things that we talked about. And again, you will double, triple, quadruple your conversions very, very damn quickly. And it'll make a massive impact on your overall business. All right. So as we wrap this up here, I just want to throw this out there again, in case you are a realtor, team leader, or brokerage owner, and you are struggling in your business. Maybe your business is down. Maybe it's stalled out. Maybe it's growing just not the path that you want it to grow at. And if that's you, I invite you to schedule a 100% free, 100% zero pressure coaching call with me personally. As you already know from this podcast, everything I do is zero pressure. So you're not going to be hard sold. You're not going to be pressured on. Like, this is a coaching call for you. We are going to talk about you, your business, where your business is at, where your goals are in the next 12 months, what your long-term goals are for your real estate career, what your biggest obstacles are that you are experiencing, what you are currently doing. Then from there, I'm going to break down, hey, here's exactly, if I was you, if we were to switch place, if I was you, here's exactly what I would do to get you from where you're at to where you want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner possible. So you will not leave this coaching call without knowing exactly what to do to get from where you're at to where you want to go. You have my word on that. I 100% got your back. I promise you, I will get you dialed in, remove any guesswork, I'm going to make sure that you are have laser clarity on what you got to do to get to where you're at. Now, okay, we're going to spend about 50 minutes on that. Then from there, the last 10 minutes, yes, full disclosure on this, I'm going to walk you through what my coaching program is, what it entails. If it's for you, great. If not, that's okay too. We can still be friends. Everything I do is zero pressure. I'm not going to beg you, not going to make you feel guilty, not going to hard pressure you. Hey, if it's for you, cool. If not, that's okay too. But you have my word. I promise you that this will still be an extremely powerful coaching call where we will get you dialed in, whether you ever do business with me or not from a coaching aspect. I guarantee this will be one of the most powerful coaching sessions that you've ever had. I charge $1,000 an hour for one-on-one consulting. I'm doing this for free for you right now. And I'm doing these because I want to help as many people out right now in this tough industry that we are in. These GSD mode listeners, right, that you're supporting this podcast. So if you are stuck, I recommend that you go there and schedule this call. www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. Now, I should also say, maybe you're not stuck. Maybe things are going really good. You just want an outside reference on, hey, man, is there a better way to do this? Is there a different way to do this? Am I sure I'm going down the right path? If you want from somebody that's been there, that's done it and continuing to do it, that's been through all the phases from individual agent to scaling, mega team and becoming and building one of the top teams on the planet, doing over $2 billion in real estate sales, selling well over 7,000 homes. That then is also, on the brokerage front, scaled massive brokerages and helped others, I've coached over 5,000 agents, team leaders, and broker owners. There's not a lot that I haven't seen in this industry. So from a guy that's done it at all levels, but then also coached clients at doing it at all levels, like if you just want a different, like maybe you're kicking ass and you just want a different set of, different eyeballs on what you're doing and get a different, idea. And maybe I look at what you're doing. It's like, hey man, you're doing everything perfectly. Just keep doing what you're doing and just accelerate. Right. So again, www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. I appreciate you guys. Keep crushing it. Keep up the amazing work. And I will talk to you next time. Peace.